one of us who hasn't become infected, take shelter immediately. Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends. It's impossible at this time to know how many unaffected people are left.
I'm not insane!
As film fans, some movies become part of our lives.
Like the books?
I love it. And the work that I want to talk about today certainly became part of mine. Written as an ode to Lovecraftian horror by Mike De Luca, this movie is chock full of references to classic cinema.
Believe me, I sympathize.
And homages to a writer responsible for creating his own dimension in horror. This episode, we take a look at the journey of a character's descent into the insane, who finds out.
Reality is not what it used to be.
This is John Carpenter's The Mouth of Madness.
That's not a cage story. This is not reality.
Released to mixed reviews in 1994 and barely returning its budget, In the Mouth of Madness was a movie that for me was possibly just a little too ahead of its time. At the beginning of the 1990s, horror was at an all-time low in audience favor, and it was yuppie thrillers that were dominating at the box office.
Was watching.
These big-budget, prestigious, middle-class thrillers were replacing the tired tropes of the slasher films for the horror audiences of the 1980s that were now getting a little older. Films such as Unlawful Entry, Sliver, and Sleeping with the Enemy were hits, and their protagonists were financially successful homeowners and runaways.
Central air conditioning, absolutely terrific.
Who were facing the evils of demented, jealous lovers and psychopaths.
Nothing can keep me away. I can't live without you.
Rather than supernatural enemies or alien threats. It was now a genre about the enemy coming into the protagonist's comfortable world and about the fear of losing your dream home, your material things.
A prestigious address. So you're moving in today. Welcome to 113.
Or disrupting your dream life. All yuppie fears indeed.
Carly Norris knew what she wanted.
In the following years, Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven would rejuvenate the horror genre with the release of Scream.
You're not scared, are you? Scream.
And became known as the creators of meta or self-referential horror.
There's a very interesting set of study of how the kids' perception of what violence is and how do you deal with it, how it switches from their film idea.
I'll be right back.
They have to sort of change everything to account for it when it actually happens to them in real life.
They watch prom night, they save time.
So it's a very interesting sort of film within a film.
Like scary movies.
What's the point? They're all the same.
But I argue that Carpenter, as always, in my opinion, was just a little bit ahead of the curve. After all, what is more self-referential than a protagonist who finds out that his world will end when the credits roll, or a reader closes the book after finishing that last chapter, because he was just a fictional character in the mind of a writer?
You are what I write, like this town. It wasn't here before I wrote it, and neither were you.
In the Mouth of Madness is a movie filled with ideas and interesting conversations about the nature of existence, from a filmmaker who at that point in his career was dealing with the failure of a few projects, and perhaps himself questioning, where do I fit in the world of cinema today? In the Mouth of Madness is the final film in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, beginning with The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and ending with Madness. The only difference being that in this third and final picture, the world really does come to an end for the main character when the screen cuts to black.
I'll try to continue this emergency broadcast as long as we can hold out here.
There is no hope, no discussion, and no one to come to his rescue. The main character, John Trent, played with an excellence of craftsmanship from actor Sam Neill, literally blinks out of existence in the movie's stunning, apocalyptic final moments. And in that way, I feel that Madness has much more of a connection to Carpenter's previous works than most give it credit for. In his previous studio film, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, another yuppie-type hero also questions his reality when he is rendered invisible.
You know, I never realized how important it is to be seen, you know, acknowledged.
You start questioning whether you exist at all.
Just like Trent in In the Mouth of Madness, he has to deal with the fact that he is no longer in charge of his own destiny. And the film also has a lot in common with Prince of Darkness, in that it discusses the metaphysical questions of existence, similar to the Schrodinger's cat scene in Prince of Darkness.
Is until the cat is observed by someone, he's not in any definite state, either alive or dead. He's in a wave superposition state, both dead and alive at the same time.
Madness addresses these same questions, showing us that once again, Carpenter's movies are deeper than most mainstream horror, and dare to be unique and focus on questions that the filmmaker himself debates.
So we're discussing reality, and we're setting the audience up for basically this journey into madness. They're about to go on a journey through from our reality into another one.
A reality is just what we tell each other it is. Sane and insane could easily switch places if the insane were to become the majority.
Carpenter's filmography stands out in genre filmmaking for these reasons, and I've always felt that his themes of self-identity and the challenges that his protagonists often face about their own individuality are unique to his works.
Pliskin, if you get back in that glider, I'll shoot you down. You climb out, I'll burn you off the wall.
Little human compassion.
As Trent states in one chilling line of dialogue, when he realizes that things have changed in his reality.
I know what's real. I know what I am. And nobody pulls my strings.
A truly terrifying scene and a powerful delivery from Neil. Carpenter is a filmmaker that holds his personal freedoms above all else and has strived to remain a true independent. And in this scene, the fear of losing what he holds most dear is clearly at stake. An incredible scene.
I know what I am.
One of the overarching themes of the film which I love, and is taken directly from Lovecraftian mythology, is that of the unreliable narrator. A view could be taken from the film that Trent is insane from the get-go. After all, he is telling us his story from the walls of his padded cell, and I've always found this intriguing because it means that we, the audience, have been following the story of a madman, so we are not sure what is real at all, just like Trent is no longer sure of the nature of his reality. After all, reality is just what we tell each other it is.
Just because you know the symptoms doesn't mean to say your story is true.
This revelation turns the narrative on its head. We are no longer sure of what reality we are seeing, and you have to ask yourself, was Trent always mad?
Look, do you think those books somehow infected you?
A masterstroke of storytelling, stolen from the master of interdimensional horror himself.
Its primeval inhabitants were a murderous race of creatures whose vile existence contaminated time itself.
Another interesting thing about Madness that I really admire is that it has Carpenter's anti-authoritarian themes all over it, as do his earlier works of a police state and controlled America in the escape films and They Live. In the Mouth of Madness has a tinge of distaste for corporate America. In a small but pivotal role played by legendary actor Charlton Heston, the head of the publishing house Arcane, who publish and profit from the books that are literally turning the world insane for a profit, CEO Jackson Harglow states that he hopes the film will drive people crazy.
I know this book will drive people crazy. Let's hope so. The movie comes out next month.
Although Trent's story of monsters and madness would be very hard to believe, the evidence of what Trent states is actually happening all around them, though Harglow in his glass tower shows little concern for the warning.
That is quite a story. If you could write it, I'd publish it.
After all, he got his book, and the company are profiting from the mass hysteria that is tearing the world apart. He wants the madness to continue. This could be taken as a warning that if you follow the trends and are happy to swallow what adverts, the media, and greedy corporations market to us, we as a corporate-ruled, consumerist species will be the main part in our own downfall if we don't wake up and see the truth.
When does fiction become religion? And are his fans dangerous?
Only if you count X's.
A bit deep, I know, but it's a trend that runs through all of Carpenter's works. He often paints the human species as callous.
Get her out of here.
Daddy.
Take her to the chair.
Carpenter's work can be interpreted as a warning for us as consumers to wake up. In the Mouth of Madness is a low-budget marvel of craftsmanship, and the anamorphic cinematography is wonderful. Along with Carpenter's rocking and atmospheric score, Gary Kibbe's photography, and the incredible set design and effects from K&B, this film creates a new dimension in horror, and for my money, is one of the best films influenced by the works of H.P Lovecraft.
He did not shriek, but the hideous, unholy abominations shrieked for him of countless, unhallowed centuries.
If you are willing to look past the budget and give yourself over to the wonderful work of the insane that Carpenter creates, and just sit back and lose yourself in the fantastic performances from Sam Neill, Julie Carmen, Jürgen Prochnow, and Heston, then this movie will literally let you lose yourself to your imagination and enter the world of the Mouth of Madness. On a personal note, I can't praise this film enough. Over the years, it has been an incredible influence on my own work. Very early on, I wrote and directed a short film called Freedom Room, and looking at these images, I'm sure you can see the huge influence that Carpenter's film had on me. I studied the lighting and set design, and used Carpenter's work as a blueprint to help teach myself a lot of what I still use today when making movies. It's a film that has been with me since I was a kid, and a movie that I will continue to return to for great storytelling, expert direction on a low budget, and most of all, because to me the hard work and craftsmanship in this picture are a true inspiration.
Special effects. Hidden speakers, you people are professionals, I'll give you that.
There is still no other movie for me that creates an atmosphere of complete dread, that features a character losing himself. And just like De Luca and Carpenter brought Trent's character to life and imprinted him onto celluloid, as the credits roll and the image fades, the dream of life that Trent had fades from our imaginations, and he ceases to exist.
Your book sounds real.
And we truly see the end of a life, and that to me is an apocalyptic feeling that has never quite been equaled on screen.
This whole movie is about whose reality is it and who's controlling the world. Sam discovers that he's basically a puppet with no free will. He's being written. He's a character in a book.
What are you talking about?
And the world ends because the book writes it that way.
A truly great performance from Sam Neill. And for me, one of the most underrated movies in the fantastic career of the magician that is John Carpenter. Thanks for watching my take on a favourite film of mine, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. If you would like to see more films on the work of Carpenter and other filmmakers, please remember to like and subscribe. We have the Super Thanks option if you would like to support the channel, which can be found in the options below, and please consider supporting the Boneyard on Patreon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thanks so much for listening.
See your supervisor?